Hey everybody, and welcome back to I Am Dead. Just remind me, who am I looking for? I'm looking for Ogden Beckett. I'm looking for someone that knows Ogden Beckett. Suppose anyone in the candlery knows Ogden Beckett, do they? Alright, so I actually can't go in there. I thought I might be able to zoom in. No bubbles above your head, no bubbles above you. Hey, I see bubbles. The Skylark. They work day and night fixing up this boat, but it never seems to get finished. That's Henry Noncaro. I don't know how you really pronounce that. Noncaro? Band leader for the Shelmerston Fishermen's Institute brass band. Bootlegger and music teacher. Alright, Henry, what you got? What kind of memories
I remember when a young Ogden asked to join the Shelmerston Silver Band. I recognised his talent immediately. He could play anything, that lad. Literally anything. Eventually he settled on the sousaphone, which he always insisted on playing with his lucky bronze mouthpiece.
Thought we had to go further, but we did not have to go further. It's somewhere in here. Is that it? Yeah. His lucky bronze mouthpiece.
One evening after the Silver Band played a storming concert in the Camel, Ogden and Sally got it into their heads to go for a night swim in the harbour, young love and all that. Ogden left his mouthpiece behind, and when we came back the next morning to pack up, it had disappeared.
Okay.
It really rattled him. Ogden was worried he wouldn't be able to perform without it. But of course, next time we played, it was just as good as ever. Didn't need any lucky mouthpiece, our Ogden. He could play anything, that lad.
Yeah, that's too far. Sometimes you have to go beyond what you think it should be. Sometimes you don't. What kind of instrument that is. Right, so we're looking for
Ogden
a
was
brass
so talented,
mouthpiece.
a real virtuoso. Oh, I loved listening to him play.
Oh, speak for yourself, Morris. It was a terrible racket.
Well, don't really care for that music there, Sparky. Alright, gotta look for it, and it's gotta be somewhere in here, you would think. Maybe in a paint bucket? Nope, there's just paint in that bucket. Inside a buoy. Inside a winch. I mean, there was no reason why it would be inside a winch. Inside a barrel? We can't go inside the barrel. Go inside this man. Actually, no, I can't. I can just zoom in on it. Is it inside a bird? That would be silly. Is it not in the Skylark? Is it in this general area, but not in the Skylark? I mean, typically, it's found in the same place you found... Yeah, see, it on the left, it maximizes. It's not maximized here. It is maximized here, so it is in the scene somewhere. Maybe in one of the paint buckets, just not the right paint bucket. So, they would have had to, he died quite a while ago, so they'd have had to have been holding on to this paint bucket for quite a while. Like the paint bucket is not the right answer, but you know what, as long as they'll let me go inside the paint buckets, I'll go look inside the paint buckets just to confirm. Right, nothing in the paint buckets, nothing in the winches. I mean, there's not a lot of room in a winch. there's only one winch. No, there's multiple winches. There's that one I think we just looked at, and there's this one. Yeah, it'd be silly for them to be one in a winch. So what else is available? Oh, there's an inside to the boat. Okay. The cupboards. Go inside the cupboards, but there's no, look like a mouthpiece in here. Go inside a roll of labels. Things you can go inside of. Oh, there's Sheepshank. Not in there. Inside the whiskey still? The Skylark's real purpose is to conceal this still. For decades now, the people of Shelmerston have been distilling their own bootleg brand of local whiskey, Sheepshank. But inside the still? Let's see any in this one, in this little container. There's a bunch of things that kind of look like a mouthpiece, though. Whiskey funnels. Look like a mouthpiece. Could they be using one instead of the, They'd be using his mouthpiece instead of one of the real funnels? Ah, look at that one right there. OB. That's it. That's not the one I wanted to click on. That's it.
They seem to have been using it as a funnel. These bootleggers are very resourceful.
All right, that's one piece down. There's another.
I'm getting the scent of Grenkins again, Morris. I'll pop up to let you know when we're close to one.
Okay, thank you for letting me know about the Grenkins. Not in my, I'm not making it a priority to look for them, but thank you. The fish market. Simon Grund, captain of the Shelmerston cricket team.
It was the day of the island cricket match out on the volcanic sand spit. We had lost to Appledore for the past 3 years, and it was my first year as captain. I didn't want another loss on my watch. Ogden had just come back from New Zealand and told me he'd be up for it. I wasn't sure. I remembered Ogden from school. He was lanky and good in the field, but batting? Not sure. Ogden showed up with his own bat. He told me he'd won it in a pub in Dunedin and that it had belonged to a famous New Zealand player. I wondered whether I should put him into bat at all, but Ogden whispered to me that he'd been playing on deck all the way home. I knew Ogden wasn't a bluffer, but he was never the guy who got picked for the first team at school. Still, I had nothing to lose. Ogden hit a six with his first stroke. We went wild! And just when I thought it must be a fluke, he hit another, and another. He was a machine!
Good for you, Ogden.
Ogden hit so many cricket balls out into the sea that we had to stop play. We'd run out. It was a stunning win, and we carried Ogden back across the sand and into the Camel. Even though he'd won the match pretty much single-handedly, he insisted it was all down to the bat and plenty of practice. Ogden was solid gold.
All right, so we're looking for a cricket
How's that?
ball.
What a great day that was. And we've beaten Appledore every year since. Those poor chaps never did recover from Ogden's incredible batting.
All right, so we have to find a cricket ball, and it looks like it's kind of covered in barnacles because it's been out into the sea. So my first inkling is that it's, well, either inside a pallet of fish, or it's inside this particular fish, which we actually can't zoom in on. We can zoom in on the water tower, but I doubt it's in there. It's in a, well, there's Slippery Derrick. Octopi are famous for their Houdini-like ability to escape any tank or trap. This one is thinking of making a break for it. Hello, Slippery Derek. I can see inside your brain, Slippery Derek. Good luck, my friend. Good luck escaping. There's no place for a, for an octopus. Look inside this, inside the crab trap, there's a barnacle cluster. Inside the barnacle cluster, we have one cricket ball.
Hey, Morris. Remember when we found one of these heavy balls on the beach and I dropped it on your toe?
That's not very nice, Sparky. Alright, so that's that. What else we got? I can zoom out. I was too zoomed in. Okay. So, I don't see any... thought bubbles. No thought bubbles, huh? What's all this place for? Just for searching for Grinkins and learning more about the story? Thought bubbles? Thought bubbles? Do I have to zoom in on a zone to see the thought bubbles? Is that my problem? Have I forgotten that? Let's zoom in on a zone. Let's zoom in, and the seismologists now. I don't think that's it. Check out the camel. Okay, so there's a Grinkin here, and it's inside something that looks like that, like a... I don't know what that is, like a stirrup or something. Inside a giant camel's head? No, because you would have been ticking to tell me I was close. Hey guys. Nobody has a thought bubble? I'm not anywhere near a, there we go. Hey, where's the Grinkin? There it is. Part of the speaker. 1 to 14 Grinkins here. The game did kind of give that one to me. It kind of zoomed in on its own. Time for toast. Okay, there's a Grinkin here as well, but... Got a toast restaurant, huh? Just make toast all day. I mean, I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking for, what the Grinkin, looks like over there in that corner, but hopefully it's not food, because that doesn't look like food. I feel like it's one of the toasters. If we can just identify the toaster. Maybe it's not the toasters. Maybe I'm wasting your time and my time by looking for these dumb Grinkins, which I keep saying I'm not going to do that. Yep. Definitely not going to look for the Grinkins. Yeah, I'm not hearing any clicking, so you know what? Kind of not... kind of done looking, to be honest with you. Unless it's inside the bell. Alright, not inside the bell, we're moving on. Looking for Some thought bubbles? Speech bubbles, please. Ah, I see some. Okay. There's also a Grankin here, but I don't care. Ogden's widow, Sally Mapes.
We were 14 when we started going out. Me and my friend Cassia had started a beach clean at the weekend, and Ogden turned up with his mate Godfrey. I had no idea Ogden liked me. He was the tallest in our year, and we all fancied him. By the time we reached the little cove at the north end of the beach, he'd asked me to come to a concert he was playing in. I said yes. We'd been going out for a few years when I applied to Floristry College on the mainland. I didn't tell Ogden. I didn't believe I'd get in, and didn't want him to think I was trying to get away from him. Ogden might have looked mature and confident, but he was a gentle soul, not nearly as sure of himself as he looked.
Florist, you
But I did get in, and he was gutted. I felt terrible. I didn't want to hurt Ogden. He said he didn't mind, but I could see he was covering. My last week on Shelmerston was really hard. Every time I saw him, it felt so strained, and I couldn't sleep. Finally, on my last night, I made a decision. I would take an apprenticeship at the garden centre on the island instead, so we could stay together. It felt like the right thing to do. I would tell Ogden in the morning.
But let me guess. He decided instead that he was going to go to Floristry College as well. Or something. Like you tried to compromise and he tried to compromise as well. Is that...
But when I opened the door the next day, I found Ogden's sousaphone left on the doorstep. I was terrified. What did it mean? What had he done? I ran down to his house, my heart in my mouth. His mum, she never did like me, was a little bit smug. She told me Ogden had sailed off to New Zealand. He was headed to Christchurch, she said, and didn't know when he was coming back. Then she shut the door.
Oh, that's right. He went to New Zealand and he learned cricket and all that.
I was more than a bit tearful, but, you know, looking back, I think we both needed to have a bit of an adventure.
But why would he leave you his sousaphone on your front doorstep?
I spent a lot of time with Sally during this period. We used to meet up quite often when she returned from Floristry College, and I was working at the museum. For a while I thought maybe we would get together. But she always seemed a bit out of reach. Sort of distracted. Well, it makes sense now.
Alright, we're looking for a ship and a bottle. Well, I see a bottle. And I see a ship. The model of the HMS Indefatigable. Ogden made this as he journeyed back from New Zealand towards Shelmerston.
How did that get in there?
Well, you see, they build it small and they shove it in, and then they erect it with tools. Apparently, there's also a Grenkin in here. Looking for some thought bubbles. I see some thought bubbles on you, Mr. Godfrey Bowen, landlord at the Camel Pub, Ogden's childhood friend.
I remember we was walking home from school, a bunch of us, and I told him my granddad said the lad had a live battering camel living somewhere in the woods.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the camel.
Everyone laughed, but I told them it was true. Ogden didn't believe me. Someone would have seen it. He dared me to climb in and prove it. I told him he'd have to come with me. Sneaking past the big house, we were almost caught by the gamekeeper and had to run. Hell for leather for the woods. We reached the trees out of breath. I was bent double and leant against a tree.
And then you saw the
Ogden
camel.
had better breath control and he recovered quickly. He saw it first. The clouds parted, the moon shone down, and Ogden gasped. And then I did too. Was it? It was.
The camel.
The next day, we were kicking ourselves. We had no proof. No one was going to believe us. But we knew what we saw.
Oh, yeah, he was a couple of years above these chaps at school. Oh, and he's right. No one believed them. We gave them so much stick.
All right, we're looking for looks to be a statue of a camel in the seaside shop. I was looking up at the upstairs, but it doesn't look like I can much interact with the upstairs. Kind of moves me down. So, looking for a camel. I see some camel inflatable rings, but that doesn't mean there's a statue of a camel inside. There is a Grinkin in there though. If we can just get it right. Found you, Grankin. Looking for a little thing. Maybe it's in a snow globe. I see a camel inside a snow globe, but it's apparently not what I want because I can't interact with it. There's Shelmerston Island. That's not a camel. There's the Shelmerston Lighthouse, but it is not a camel. Not a camel inside the shell. Can't interact with the buckets. I mean, I didn't look underneath the helmet. Would have been an interesting place to find one. Or inside a telescope. It doesn't make sense that there would be a statue inside a telescope. Can't get into the Lucky Dips. Oh, I can get into Lucky Dip. Some people call these brand tubs. Have a rummage around and see what you get. Maybe there's a camel in there. Ah, there is a camel in there. Porcelain camel.
Camels are so obviously a made-up animal. Humans will believe any old rubbish.
Hey, Sparky. I can promise you that camels are real. Alright, one more item to find. First we have to find someone with a thought bubble. Ah, there they are. At the end of the jetty. It is Sally Mapes. Ah, it's Sally Mapes again. Ogden's widow.
I missed Ogden so much, and for the first month there was no letter at all. I took my place at college on the mainland without knowing how he was feeling. It was a shock how low it made me, even though I was working with flowers, my dream job. I threw myself into making friends and working as hard as I could. I wondered about him travelling the world, without me and without his sousaphone. What he was doing, how he was feeling. Then the letters started arriving, and it was amazing. Each one came with a penny from a different country. One from Valparaiso, another from Dakar. I wrote back and told Ogden about my course, trips to Kew Gardens, which were amazing. Then Ogden told me about his voyage, watching dolphins and flying fish, crossing the equator. Sometimes we were both lonely. We poured out our hearts to each other. In a funny way, I think the letters made us closer than ever.
Well, you know what they say about absence makes the heart grow fonder, etc., etc. Also, the subtitle subtitles being white and everything being so light colored doesn't really work very well.
When he arrived in Christchurch, he'd send me flowers pressed in his letters. I sent him a shell from home, and then he sent me a New Zealand halfpenny. It was my favourite. On one side was the head of a Maori tiki. Ogden told me it was lucky. I came back to the island, and when my father died, I opened up my own florist shop on the quay. I tucked the halfpenny under the front step for luck, polished up Ogden's sousaphone and put it in the window. They both brought me luck, and the shop flourished.
Put flowers in the sousaphone.
One day, Ogden showed up at the shop, completely out of the blue. He told me there was nowhere like Shelmerston, and no one like me. I was so thrilled to see him, I asked him to marry me there and then. He said yes.
Good for you two. I'm looking for the New
The
Zealand
Lord of
halfpenny.
Shelmerston. It always pulls people back when they try to move away. They were a lovely couple, Sally and Ogden.
Alright, where would I find a halfpenny? Well, probably in the telescope. I mean, you said you tucked it away, though, so it was a special thing for you, so why would it be in the telescope, though? Even though that is a coin-operated machine? There's a thruppence, not a halfpenny.
Yet one good thing about being dead, I'll never have to deal with counting change again.
Alright, that's all of the things found.
Ah, yes. A very distinctive odor indeed. I reckon I can find him from this.
Alright.
Here I come, Ogden.
Let's go. Sometimes it gives me the mouse directions and sometimes not. Sometimes it gives me the controller directions, which is what I'm actually using. Well, that 12? That was 12. That seemed like a kind of low number.
Oh, this feels so good. Terrific to see you, Morris.
Oh,
to see
it's
you too,
great
Ogden.
to see you too, mate.
Have a stretch, Ogden. We have a question for you.
Sparky, owner of the very finest singing voice on the island. What can I do for you?
Well, it's about the custodian. We need a replacement.
Ah, yes. I've heard that volcano rumbling. Poor Aggie must be very tired.
Yes, she is. We need a replacement.
Oh. Oh, you want me to be the custodian? Well, I'm honored, but I can't.
Are you sure? The island is in dire need.
I know, and I sympathize, but Sally is the other half of me. I need to watch over her. Everything else may be changing, but she's my constant, and I'm hers. I need to go into the West with her when it's her time.
I understand.
Yes,
I understand.
Yeah, I understand. You two always did have an enviable connection.
We were very lucky to find each other. And I'm still lucky just to watch over her. Makes this place still feel a bit like home, even as it changes. So I'm going to stay.
That's fine.
But listen, once you've found the custodian, come back and enjoy a sniff of that beer in the Camel with me, eh?
Ah, sure, Ogden. Well, see you around.
Alright, see you later.
After all these years, Ogden still carries that torch for Sally. I wish I'd been so lucky. Things I should have done.
You were busy with the museum, Morris. And you did walks, and you did fetch, and belly rubs, and...
Yeah, all right, yes. I was very busy. Thank you for reminding me.
You did plenty. But now you need to find the next custodian.
Hey, how long has Aggie been custodian?
Oh, a little while now. You've met her, actually.
I have?
Well, her body, anyway. In the museum.
What? Her body? In the museum? Oh, wait!
That's right, Morris.
The Bog Lady. The Bog Lady of Shelmerston. Well, that's Aggie.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's her body, anyway. Her spirit is all around us, of course.
But Aggie is Bronze Age. 3,000 years. She's been custodian all that time?
Yep.
Wow. No wonder she's tired.
More tired every minute. We need to get to the next prospect. Greg Litherland, at the campsite.
Greg Litherland.
Greg. Okay.
You don't seem like you really care for Greg that much. And I wonder, like, I get the feeling that Morris had a wife. Like, I just wonder if Morris had a wife, because he kind of said that he felt there was a time that he was kind of depressed. They didn't say that so much, but I wonder if his wife died and that made him depressed, is what he talked about earlier. I wonder if we're gonna meet her. Can she be the new custodian? Does she even exist? I may be wrong about that. And this Greg fellow. The Nab Hill campsite.
The one part of the island I never spent much time at. I never cared for camping. Although we did find a lot of Bronze Age goods down here. Really fascinating bits and bobs. I reckon this was an important place once. And not just to shellers.
Oh, there's so many great smells here. Oh, and so many rabbits to chase. Stop it, Sparky, you have a job to do.
You know, I suppose I do like it better up here now I don't have to worry about combing all those burrs out of your fur. At least this part of Shelmerston isn't changing too much.
Yes. Now let's sniff out Greg.
Yeah, I always found Greg a bit
Annoying.
difficult. That business with the owl of his.
He wasn't a bad guy at heart. Just liked animals a bit more than people, sometimes. Maybe. But who can blame him? Let's find some people who remembered him. Dig a little deeper.
Memories of Greg Litherland. Here we come.
Doesn't sound like very great memories are going to be found. Greg Litherland, 1969 to 2016. Greg ran Nab Hill campsite where his prickly demeanor and insistence on rules were notorious. He was a keen birdwatcher, nature lover, and campaigner for the protection of Morlos. What's Morlos? Was that the volcano, maybe? I don't know. A huge fan of Scheller racing, Greg captured the excitement of the sport with his photographs. So, we're not actually going to find Greg in this episode because we've already been half an hour and it's time to end. So we found Pete, we found Valerie, we found Ogden, and now it's time to find Greg. Then it looks like some kind of fellow and maybe some lady after that. But we'll find out who those are in future episodes. So thanks for joining me. Hope you enjoyed it and hope to see you again next time.